Mopi lana malaba hiri barada hude. Mopi jana balaba hiri barada hude. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tera Banachade Yamuna Tera Vanachante Jairanu Madhova Kunjabihate Jairanu Madhova Kunjabihate Gopi Jana Balagava Girivada Dhagute Gopi Jana Balagava Girivada Dhagute Yasodanandana Prajadana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Banachare Yamuna Tera Banachare Jairandro Madhova Kunjabihate Jairandro Madhova Kunjabihate Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivada Dhagute Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivada Dhagute Yasodanandana Prajadana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachade Yamuna Tera Vanachade Jayaradu Madhuva Kunjabihate Jayaradu Madhuva Kunjabihate Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa She Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shridhara Thakur Ki Jai. Friends say Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shaima Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturadam Ki Jai. Jagadata Sami Ki Jai. Yamunamai Ki Jai. Shrimati Lasa Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Samani Tiramani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivashesha Sanyavadi Paschacha Deshatarni. So today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 53rd chapter, text 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Evam Chintayate Bala Govinda Rita Manasa Yamilayata Kala Ya Netre Achashru Kalakule Evam Chintayate Valaha Govinda Rittamanasa Yamilayata Kalagnya Netre Chashru Kulakule Evam Chintayati Bala Govinda Rittamanasa Yamilayata Kalagnya Netre Chashru Kalakule Evam Chintayati Bala Govinda Rittamanasa Yamilayata Kalagnya Netre Chashru Kalakule Ibala. Okay. Evam, in this manner. Chintayati, thinking. Bala, the young girl. Govinda, by Krishna. Rita, stolen. Manasa, whose mind. Niyami layata, she closed. Kala, the time. Ya, knowing. Netre, her eyes. Cha, and. Ashru kala, with tears. Akule, brimming. Actually, this is causing me some. There's really heavy sounds here. So, translation, as she thought in this way, the young maiden whose mind had been stolen by Krishna closed her tear-filled eyes, remembering that there was still time. So we can repeat. As she thought in this way, the young maiden, whose mind had been stolen by Krishna, closed her tear-filled eyes, remembering that there was still time. So purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridhar Swami explains the word kalagna as follows. Rukmini thought, it is not even the right time yet for Govinda to come, and thus she felt a bit consoled. So I'm going to read the Acharya's commentaries. Let's see, get this. Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, O fickle mind, do not prepare to give up your body now, because the time of his coming has not yet passed. Before giving up the body, let me see his face in meditation one time. You should not prevent this, dear mind. Then she closed her eyes. No. And Jiva Goswami's comments, her mind had been stolen by Krishna, who was the Lord of the cows, having the sweetness of Gokula. Though a young girl, she began thinking in this way. In grief, she did not think of anything else. Her eyes were filled with teardrops, or were agitated with teardrops. Another version has Jalakule. She was aware that Govinda had not come even now, Kalagna, when the procession was about to begin, and finally Sanatana Goswami. Her mind was absorbed in Krishna, the Lord who appeared on earth to display his unlimited powers, Govinda. Though she was a young girl, Bala, she thought in this way only full of lamentation. Her eyes were full of drops of tears, or a torrent of tears, like we chant Ashru Taranga Bhaja in the morning. Tears coming from her eyes like torrents of rain. She closed her eyes to stop the tears from falling because of great pain. Or, though she knew there was still time, she closed her eyes in great pain. This means she fainted. Or, desiring to close her eyes, she desired to die. It is later mentioned, Dutas Tvayatma Labane Suvikta Mantra Prasthapitamai Chirayate Shunyame Tat Madhajihasa hidam angam anya yogyam tishteta tatvai vayam pratinandayama. When you sent the messenger with your most confidential plan, and yet I delayed going to you, you began to see the whole world is void and wanted to quit your body, which could never have been given to anyone but me. May this greatness of yours remain with you always. I can do nothing to reciprocate except joyfully thank you for your devotion. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:60-57. So, getting back to the verse again. Evam chintayati pala Govinda Vrittamanasa Nyami Layata Kalaya Netre Chashru Kala Kule. So Omagana Tibidanda Shah Gananjana Shalakia Chakshur Unmiditam Yena Tasmai Shikadveda Maha. So before, okay, actually I should bring everyone up to speed. This is Rukmini, who has sent a messenger to Krishna, a Brahmin messenger to Krishna, and she's just waiting. It's the morning of the marriage ceremony, and she's just waiting for the messenger to come back or some word that actually Krishna is coming. And so she's in complete anxiety. Last minute, she's, of course, hopefully they have a clock there or whatever means they have telling the time, or the sun's getting ready to rise. And she's just completely on edge and anxiety at this particular point. Is Krishna coming? If Krishna doesn't come, then I'm supposed to be married to Shishupal, and I'll kill myself before that happens. So this is, she's looking at the time. Basically, as we would say, seeing the minutes go by or the seconds click, whatever. And so she's in anxiety. So before we talk about her different moods, Vipralamba and Purva Rag, which we've talked about before, but I have more quotes about that to read, I want to talk about how this applies to us. So, of course, we're not really thinking Govinda Virahena Me. I mean, at least I'm not thinking that. I'm probably thinking, Prashadam, Yugaitam, anyway. When is Prashadam? We have so many other things we're thinking about, we'd like to do, we're looking forward to doing, and things like that. We're not thinking, where is Krishna? I haven't seen Krishna. Without Krishna, this life is useless. Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravashai. The whole universe has no use. We're not thinking like that. We're not thinking like the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, running around Govardhan. Hey Radhe, Brajadeva K. Hey Nanda Shuno Kuta. This is the same thing. They're in anxiety. Where are you, Radharani? Where are you, Krishna? In this way, they were performing their devotional service, according to Srinivasa Acharya. So how do we apply this? We need to apply these different, let's say, verses or understandings in our own mind. So, we look at the clock. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. So, but sometimes we look in the mirror. Or we look at, the year it is. We look at how old we're getting. As described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his poem, that with every rising and setting of the sun, the day is past and lost. And he says, why do you not serve the darling of Yashoda? In other words, time is running out. That's the point. What do I mean by time is running out? In this body, there is a point where this body ceases to exist. And when it ceases to exist, of course, then we take another body, obviously. But we didn't take full advantage in this particular lifetime of becoming Krishna conscious. And so we should be in anxiety about this. We should think, oh my God. And what does that mean? Not wasting any time. Because actually the sun's business is to take away, according to the Bhagavatam, is to take away the duration of your life. Isn't it? We're thinking, it's going to be cool one day, we take a few more months, it's going to be cool, it's going to be nice. Let's just wait till it's nice there. Almost like the bear who wants to hibernate during the winter, but we want to hibernate in the summer until the weather. So, but, we don't know if we're going to have another moment. And so I want to read something Prabhupada says about, actually before I talk about that, there's many verses in the Bhagavatam that talk about, the rarity of having a human birth, how we have to utilize every moment. Of course, my favorite verse is from the 7th canto. Komar achret pragyo dharmam bhagavatam vihat durlabam manasajam tadatruvam artadam manasajanma tadatruvam artadam. Where Prahlad Maharaj is instructing instructing his friends, and his friends are just making excuses why they don't have to spend time in Krishna consciousness because they have a whole lifetime to do that. And sometimes we think like that, when it comes time when I get older, then I'll be Krishna conscious, or Krishna consciousness for old people, not for young people. So Prahlad Maharaj is telling his friends, Komaram, Acharet Pragyo. And actually, Prahlad Maharaj executed devotional service even before Kumara. Isn't it? I don't even know the Sanskrit word. In the womb. What would be the word? He was executing devotional service in the womb. You don't know the word. No, too bad, Sanskrit. So anyway, he was taking advantage of every moment because he was executing devotional service in the womb, hearing from Narada Muni when his mother Kayadu was in Narada Muni's ashram. So he says, Kumara Acharet. In Sanskrit, that's an imperative, right? Pragyo, to take up. You must do it. Koma atret pragyo. Dharmam bhagavatangiha. This Krishna consciousness. And why? Durlabha manasa janma. What does that mean? Durlabha manasa janma means it's very rare to have a human birth. I've often given the example that if we count how many living entities are in this room, the human beings are such a tiny number, doesn't even count. Of course, that's not an aspersion against all of you, saying that none of you are human beings, because you are human beings, you're following Krishna consciousness. But because of all the vast number of living entities in the room, the proportion of human beings is so insignificant, it's practically incalculable. So it's very rare. And not only rare, the association of sadhus, the ability to hear Krishna Katha. It's such a blessing. And we don't realize that. And so, sometimes we decide not to come to the morning program, sleep late or something like that. And we don't realize that, we may not have that opportunity again. So, Durlabha Manasa Janma, Tadavdru Marthanam. So one should take advantage of this execution of Krishna consciousness. So I want to read something from Prabhupada. So we should be in anxiety. In other words, the time is running out. So here's some Prabhupada, a quote from class. Actually, before that, I wanted to read from Lord Chaitanya's prayer Udila, or no. Actually, I'll just read 3 of the verses here. When the eastern horizon became tinged with the redness that heralds the rising of the sun, the jewel among the Brahmanas, Lord Gaurasundara, immediately awakened, taking his devotees with him. He journeyed through the towns and villages of Nadia. The mridangas sounded tatai, tatai. That's anamata poetic, for those of you who are studying English. And the Jogos, that means the Wampers, in that kirtan played in time, Lord Gauranga's golden form slightly trembled in ecstatic love of Godhead, and his foot bells jingled. Lord Chaitanya called out to the townsfolk. Here's the point. You spend your nights uselessly sleeping and your days decorating your bodies. Now just fill your mouths with the holy name, Mukunda, Madhava, Yadava, and Hari, chanting without offense. You've achieved this rare human body. Don't you care for this gift? If you do not worship the darling of Mother Yashoda now, then great sorrow awaits you at the time of death. And this is a threat. Isn't it? Wow. And of course, we should apply this particular understanding. There's another verse I'll read. But that we should apply this particular understanding not only to ourselves, but when we're interacting with other people. Their time is running out. Not only is my time running out, your time is running out. Whoever we see, like Lord Chaitanya says, Yari Dekatari Hari Krupa, Krishna Upadesh Mari Gai Guru Hoi Tore Desh. That whoever you come in contact with, you should give them Krishna because you're in anxiety about them. Para dukkha dukhi. Be in anxiety about yourself. That's good. Of course, not overwhelming anxiety, or else you can't do anything. But anxiety over other people. And this is actually compassion. Just like a parent. They're in anxiety over their children's education. I mean, just like yesterday, I got a notice from one of my disciples here in this area that their child got accepted in Durham to the science and math school. And they're so happy. They're saying, thank you for your blessings. We were so worried about this. We're going to come Sunday and get your more blessings. So, I mean, that's natural. I'm not criticizing it. Just like, oh my God. If I can give blessings to get someone to a better university, we should advertise. But the point is, their anxiety about their son. Isn't it? Their anxiety, complete anxiety about their children. And so someone like Prabhupada feels like that. And of course, we may not have that overwhelming anxiety and compassion, but still, we can sort of associate with Prabhupada and try to manifest a reflection of his compassion for other people and anxiety. Here's a spirit soul, and this spirit soul, this is going to be their last birth, and their time is running out. The clock is ticking. Shh. Nobody knows for who the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. So, anyway. So, that's the point. One's personal self and for others. Two things. And just one final verse here. You should understand this essential fact. This is a nice translation. Life is temporary and filled with various kinds of miseries. Therefore, carefully take shelter of the holy name and remain always engaged in his service as your eternal occupation. And finally, I'm going to read something from Prabhupada, and then hopefully we can get to some of the subject matters about Rukmini. So this is from Prabhupada's class. So everyone is dying, but those who are engaged in Krishna Katha and Krishna consciousness, those who are busy in Krishna's business, they are not dying. They are living. How? Because the ordinary man, his duration of life, span of life, is being taken away by the sun rising and sunset every day. Think like that. When the sun comes up, oh my God, it's taking away the duration of life. Wow. What a realization, sun's rising in the morning, instead of thinking, so beautiful, the clouds in the sky, the birds and the bees. Oh my God, duration of life is being taken away. Rising and setting every day. If a man is 50 years old, that means he has to live for 80 years. So 50 years duration has already been taken away by the sun. 50 years old means that 50 years of time has already been taken away by the sun. It will never come back. But what about the devotees? He's also the same. It's such an interesting exchange Prabhupada is having here, with himself, obviously. It's a rhetorical exchange. But what about the devotees? He is also the same. His also life is being taken away? It's a question mark. No, Prabhupada replies. His life is not, this is all Prabhupada, dialogue within himself. No, his life is not being taken away because he is going to live. Superficially, we see that the body of a devotee is also taken away, but this is not the real body. Real body is the spiritual body. Beautiful quote by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So, anyway, that's one point I wanted to make about this. And several other points about this particular verse. We have a few more minutes. One is that, this is a very short point, that in this verse we have the word Govinda, which is interesting. So, of course, this particular story is being related by Shukadeva Goswami. So, Govinda, he has a connection with Govinda, but also it indicates, he's a devotee of Krishna and Braj. But also, some devotees say that he's Radharani's parrot, but that's another story there. But also it indicates that she is aware of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. I mean, she's actually going to be Krishna's first wife, so she's feeling a similar type of attraction, not exactly the same depth that the residents of Vrindavan have in relationship to Krishna, and you find this. So, let me read about meeting and separation from Srila Prabhupada, because these subject matters are quite advanced. This is from the Madhya 2362. Prabhupada states, in conjugal love, there are two departments, meeting and separation. On the platform of meeting, there are unlimited varieties that are beyond description. When the lover and beloved meet, they are called yukta, connected. Previous to their meeting, they are called ayukta, which means not connected. Whether connected or not connected, the ecstatic emotion arising due to not being able to embrace and kiss each other as this desired is called vipralamba. This vipralamba helps nourish emotions at the time of meeting. Similarly, sambhog is described in the following verse quoted from the Vedic literatures by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Anubhasha. And of course, this is sambhog means meeting. Meeting each other and embracing each other are aimed at bringing about the happiness of the lover and the beloved. When this stage becomes increasingly jubilant, the resulting ecstatic emotion is called sambhoga. That means complete enjoyment. Just like we take prasadam, we don't take bhoga. And Krishna is bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya prita chetasam. Krishna's that's we're bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya prita chetasam. Krishna is bhoga, as described in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He's the bhogi, actually. 5th chapter, text 29. Bhogaishvarya. Bhaktaram jagatapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutaram gyatva mam shanti mrichati. So, anyway. So, sambhoga means complete enjoyment. When awakened, sambhoga is divided into 4 categories. This is so interesting. Purva rag, anantara, that's after purva rag, that means attachment prior to meeting. Sambhoga is called brief, Sanshipta. The second stage is Mana Anantara, after Mana, anger based on love. Sambhoga is called encroached, Sankirna, and two more stages. Kinchit Dura Pravasa, these are the different stages after meeting. Pravasa Anantara, after being a little distance away for some time, Sambhoga is called accomplished, Sampana, and then finally Sudurla Pravasa Anantara. After being far away, Sambhoga is called perfection, Samriddhiman. That means the meetings of the lovers that take place in dreams also have these four divisions. And then reading from Madhya-lila 23:63, Vipralamba has four divisions. We talk about Sambhoga having four divisions. Now, Vipralamba has four divisions. Purvarag, Mana, Pravas, and Prema Vachicha. So that I'm going to get to, because what we're hearing here is Prema Vachicha. Of the four kinds of separation, Purvarag, Pravas, Mana are celebrated in Srimati Radharani and the Gopis. In Dwarka, among the queens, feelings of Prema Vachitta are very prominent. So, Madhya-lila 23:65. This is spoken by one of Krishna's queens. My dear friend Kurari, it is now night, and Lord Sri Krishna is sleeping. You yourself are not asleep or resting, but are lamenting. Should I presume that you, like us, are affected by the smiling, liberal, playful glances of lotus-eyed Krishna? If so, your heart is deeply pierced. Is that why you are showing these signs of sleepless lamentation? And this verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:90-15. They're spoken by Lord Krishna's queens. Although they were with Krishna, they were still thinking of losing his company. That's Prema Vachicha. And finally, about separation, I want to read a little bit from Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his commentary, Samodana Bhashyam, on the Shikshashtaka. And he's commenting on the seventh verse, Chakshusha Prabhashaitam Shunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahena Me. Yugayitam Nimishena Chakshusha Prabhashaitam Shunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahena Me. The word Yugayitam is simple and direct. The phrase Govinda Vidahena expresses deep feelings of separation. Self-realized Rasika devotees have divided Vipralamba, or the mood of separation, into Purvarag, Mana, Pravasa, and so on. And we just heard from Prema Vachicha. What's going around? Yet, the recondite import lodged deep within this shloka composed by Lord Chaitanya is that the devotee living in this world need only relish the separation of Purva Rag. The scriptures also say that the mood of Varaha, or separation, has 10 attendant conditions. It's from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Pondering, sleeplessness, perturbation, emaciation, pallor, incoherent speech. This is also describing Srimati Rukmini Devi. Being stricken, madness, delusion, and death or unconsciousness. And so let me quote from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur about Viraha, separation. In material life, Viraha, or separation, causes only grief, whereas in the transcendental plane, it produces exultant ecstasy, even though it seems like acute anguish. Vipralamba nourishes sambhog, or enjoyment. As a matter of fact, in prema vaichitra, or variegatedness of love within the Vipralamba ras, and that's what the queens experience. There is sambhog, but only externally. Vipralamba is marked by incessant and intense recollections of Krishna and his pastimes. In fact, one never forgets Krishna. This is the super excellent stage of bhajana. So what's this referring to here? So Srimati Rukmini Devi is experiencing this purva rag, and the separation from Krishna. She hasn't met Krishna yet, but even when the queens are meeting with Krishna, they're experiencing separation too, because they're in anxiety about being separated. So this mood of separation is a constant factor. It's not something, all right, we had separation before Purvarag and then Sambhog. Okay, it's all over, no more separation. But there's always this anxiety. In fact, in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Krishna is asked, why don't you go back at the end? Why don't you go back to Vrindavan? And he says, if I go back, it'll cause them more anxiety, because they'll be worried about me leaving again. What do they say? Once burnt, twice wary. So this is their intense, so this Vipralamba is always present. Amazing, isn't it? I'll read that again. He said, as a matter of fact, in prema vaichitra, or variegatedness of love within the Vipralamba ras, there is sambhog, but only externally. This is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Vipralambas, I'll read again, marked by incessant and intense recollections of Krishna. So in other words, even though you're with Krishna externally, it appears, you're recollecting, you're remembering the different pastimes of Krishna and his pastimes. In fact, one never forgets. In other words, the intensity is, anyway, off the clock or whatever it's called. This is the super excellent stage of bhajana. Wow. And then he quotes from the Krishna Karnamrita. O supreme shelter of the destitute Hari, you are an ocean of mercy. Alas, alas, without seeing your lovely face, how shall I live through these wretched days and nights? So, on that happy note, any questions or comments? Yes. Yeah. 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 Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's our connection. Yeah, yeah, we're not Babajis in Vrindavan who are just like running around Govardhan like that. But it's attachment to our service. Yeah. Uh, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagdo, Brahmanodan, Brahmatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhanam. The service is Krishna. Service is Krishna. Okay. I guess that's it. What? Well, I mean, without getting too much into, you're going to die soon, material. I mean, you can go too far describing how this material world is a place of suffering where birth and death takes place. The one who goes to Krishna's abode doesn't take birth again. I mean, you can get so much into the negative aspects that you'll turn people away. So there has to be a healthy balance. That's the point. But as far as ourselves, then we understand the time is running out, and we understand their time is running out, but we don't want to try to get them in so much anxiety that they become miserable in Krishna consciousness. Okay, on that happy note.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Dipan Dikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham. Namakum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samminiti Namane Namaste. Saraswati Devi. Gauravani Pacha. Nege Nivesesha. Janyavati. Matsya Jagade Zatarane. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Shri Advaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Radha Lokanana, Radha Lokanana, Radha. Radha Lokanana, Radha Lokanana, Radha. Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe, Jai Om.
Vagni Nirvapanam Yakairavya Chandrikavitaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratinam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Kirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinata be beautiful again. Namani namana dena kirtaniya sadahari Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavidam va jagadishakamaye Mama janmani janmani ishvare Bhavatad bhaktir haitaki tvai Ainanda tanuja kinkaram Bhatitam mam vishame bhavam buddha Kribayata vabada pankaja Stita duli sadrashim vachintaya Nayanam gadashu daraya Varanam gadgadridaya gira Pulakarnishitam bapukada Tavanamagrahane bhavishuti Yugayatam namishena Chakshusha pravashayatam Shunayatam jagat sarvam govindam Virahename Ashlisha vapadamritam panastumam Adarshanam marmata karotuva Yatatava vidadatulam pato Mat prananatastusa evanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benedictions living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation